hello everybody, it's time to have a look at days 71 to 80 for my 100 days of game dev challenge. Now I started this past 10 days doing Ludum Dare. It was 48 hours, started on Saturday around about lunchtime and ended Monday at lunchtime. And you can see by the stats that over the 48 hours I put in a pretty decent amount of time. Overall for the game jam over that weekend I did 34 hours in total. That was 34 out of the 48 hours. And I've got some stats here that have a look at exactly how my time was broken up over the 48 hours. But I was pretty happy with the input that I had and the fact that I had over 70% of that 48 hours was productive game dev time. But because the graph is kind of extreme with those values on it, I'm just going to crush them down just for the sake of being able to look at the data properly. So before I talk about Ludum Dare, just looking at the rest of the 10 days, I mainly focused on the Unity course, and I managed to get a bit of work done on the Dice Roller app as well. So I did Ludum Dare, and it didn't all go exactly how I wanted it to. I didn't end up entering a game into the final contest, which was pretty disappointing because I do really enjoy that aspect of Ludum Dare and getting other people to play your game and vote on it and interacting with the community in that way after the game jam is something that I really like. So I was a bit disappointed that I didn't end up with a game that was good enough to submit, but that's the way that it goes. And it was definitely a learning process. I learned a whole lot about Unity over that 48 hours, and definitely about my strengths and weaknesses, which is always something a game jam will show you. Now, as I mentioned right at the start of this 100 days challenge, my two goals are to complete the Unity course, which is coming along pretty well, and then the second goal is to complete and release my first game and/or app. Now, I haven't been putting as much time as I expected into the app because I have been trying to focus on the Dice Roller to get that complete, but there is a lot of work left in that project still. So at this point in time, I'm really not thinking that I'm gonna get around to releasing something. It's not gonna be to the level of quality that I want it to be, but I'm still gonna push ahead and try and get as much of it done as possible, and then that way I can continue working on it into 2018. And then of course, I've still got quite a bit of the Unity course to go, so I'm gonna have to really cram to get that done before the end of the year, before the 100 days. But I feel pretty confident that I can get that done by the end of the challenge like I originally intended. And with that currently, I've started working on section 9. So there's a couple more sections to go, but they're all really small. So I'm hoping just a couple of solid days work and I'll get it finished by the end of December. So now we'll have a look at the summary for the past 10 days. So for the Unity course, I've put in 5 hours and 5 minutes over the past 10 days. And that took the total to 95 hours and 45 minutes. So I've almost broken the 100 hours on that alone. And that's taken the percentage of completion from 74% to 79%. So for miscellaneous work, I did 1 hour and 30 minutes, and that takes the total amount to 55 hours and 25 minutes. For the Dice Roller, I worked on that for 2 hours and 10 minutes. That takes the total for that to 3 hours 50 minutes. And because I've got the game document for that pretty much sorted at this point, and the initial level is, and I've started working on the initial level, I'm going to put the percentage for that from 4% to 5%. And then finally, I'm going to make an extra category. This is kind of miscellaneous work as well, but just because it was such a unique chunk of time, Ludum Dare I worked on for 34 hours. And so the final total for the past 10 days is 42 hours and 45 minutes. And that takes the overall total to 191 hours and 10 minutes of time over the past 80 days. So I've almost hit 200 hours, which will be a really good milestone to hit. I'll easily hit that by the end of the challenge. I've got a lot of work ahead of me going into the rest of December. It's gonna be a crazy month, but I'll get through it, and I'll report back with days 81 to 90, and we're almost at the end, so see you then.